Local legends, national headlines, and everything in between. Your game, your station. This is Sports 1440.
Ever had a problem returning auto parts? At Ed's Auto Salvage in Westlock, we do things differently. Hi, it's Lisa, and we're proud to offer one of the best return policies in the business. When you shop with us, you buy with confidence, knowing that if it doesn't fit or if it's not the right part, we'll make it right. For nearly 50 years, Ed's Auto Salvage has helped Alberta drivers save money, stay on the roads, and shop stress-free. Trust the team that stands behind every part we sell. Visit us at edsautosalvage.com.
You haven't set your lineup yet, right? It's Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
It's 11:01. Good morning. Thank you guys for tuning into Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick. We got Mackenzie the intern here as well as we're recapping the weekend in the sporting world. Oilers, outstanding performances, doing what they had to do. The NFL did not disappoint. We'll get to that and more. Take your text to 1-833-401-1440. Also, big shout out to our sponsor, Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Online at wilhaukbeefjerky.com. Only available in Leduc. Go check them out. Tell them we sent you. And trust us, get a couple bags because you don't want to run out. You'll finish that first bag off quickly. You want to have a couple more for storage. Maybe get some ground beef, maybe some other things there. Go pay them a visit. Great weekend for the Edmonton Oilers, as I mentioned. Despite doing it without second best player, some might say their best player, Leon Draisaitl, who had to take some time away from the team for personal matters. We're hoping everything's okay with he and his family. They find a way to really get that offense going. Maybe a little bit of a motivation. Hey, Leon's not here. Let's get going here. Let's put a little bit of a smile on his face in what could be a tough time. They beat up on the Vancouver Canucks Saturday night 6-0. They do the same last night against the St. Louis Blues, and for their goaltending, back-to-back, I won't jinx it for those superstitious people out there. Things are looking pretty good. Now, turn their attention to the New Jersey Devils on Tuesday night. 8 o'clock start. How about that? Should be fun. Then they got the Pittsburgh Penguins on Thursday, then Saturday, the Capitals. So then your Ducks, Duke, actually in town as well, coming up a week from now. Tickets as low as $37 if you're looking to get in there, because right now, like me, hockey's all we got. I guess we got basketball as well, but yesterday your Houston Texans losing to the New England Patriots. You're feeling what I was feeling last week at this time, and your quarterback also taking some scrutiny. And I would say, to not to put it, sugar-coated or anything, Duke, pretty well deserved after CJ Stroud's performance, because it's not often a team, loses 28-16 and we say defense did their job. Like, the defense was good. Gave up a couple plays, but CJ Stroud, unfortunately, 4 turnovers, not all his fault. I will bang that drum. If you're a receiver and that ball hits your hands, you got to catch it. You can't be tipping it up. That didn't go his way. And then also when it came to fumbles, well, in the playoffs, it's been an issue. Not so much yesterday. Drake May was more of the fumbler yesterday. But Duke, tough one for your Houston Texans going into Foxborough, and just couldn't get the job done.
No, they couldn't. It was disappointing for sure. It's pretty cut and dry that the offense was not good enough, and by that I primarily mean the quarterback. Like CJ Stroud, that is maybe the worst game I've ever seen him play. And there's been games where he's had turnover trouble before, even last week. But last week, fourth quarter, he looked more like the quarterback we've largely come to know in his NFL career. And the lofty standards set by himself in his rookie season continue to be a fading memory, and even more so and more so with each passing game fading. I talked about this with Kevin and Eddie this morning. Like, I'm not ready to throw the baby out with the bathwater and say the Texans need to reevaluate the quarterback position. Stroud's other 4 playoff games prior to this year, largely good. He's won a playoff game in each of his first 3 seasons. The Texans had never won a road playoff game before last week in Pittsburgh. They ran up against a Patriots team that was playing really well. A lot of credit to their defense, the way they made life difficult for Stroud. But even when he had time to make the throws, they were not on target. They were not on rhythm. Behind guys, above guys, low. Everything that went wrong essentially did for CJ Stroud yesterday. You feel for him on a personal level. Clearly feels like he didn't do enough to help his team win. His defense, Will Anderson Jr., most notably in the locker room, had his back after the game, saying they still believe in him. Saying what we expect athletes to say. Is not very often you see guys throw teammates under the bus unless you're the Ottawa Senators talking about your own goaltender, which was a little bit of an odd storyline from this weekend that almost
make a save, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what they were asking. But disappointing for the Texans. The better team won yesterday, and now they have to beat Jarrett Stidham in a championship game to go back to the Super Bowl and kickstart another wave of Patriots hate across the world of football.
Triple Crown in the YouTube chat says, boys, buzz phrase from the weekend, catch or no catch. Yeah, I mean, it's if you watch the game in stills, you'll say, well, he caught it. He was down. He had possession. That's it. You watch it in real time, it was ripped out pretty quickly. I would say I understand both sides of it. I think the right call was made because if you take away the defender and the ball hits his hands, he hits the ground and rolls, and the ball pops out, no one's saying catch. It's clearly
no one's saying fumble, right? It's
no
one's
saying fumble. It's incomplete. So it wouldn't have been a catch. So it goes into the DB's hands. He rips it out. Heads up play. Like, it's frustrating for sure. There was opportunities though, Duke. Like, go back to the end of the first half. Now, full confession, when the Broncos scored that touchdown, I went downstairs to assemble Benny's little playhouse thing. Oh. I'm like, okay, this one will go to halftime. Broncos up 17-10. Put it together pretty quick, no big deal. Go upstairs. Broncos are winning 20-10. Like, what the hell happened? Those 3 points were pretty crucial off the turnover, right? Like that's the game right there. So one play, frustrating for sure. There was some very questionable PI calls and non-PI calls. I totally understand that, but man, ball security is job security. If they don't turn that ball over and allow the Broncos to kick another field goal, assuming all of the things play out the same, we're getting the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship this week. So you can always look at one thing, Duke, but I think there's more to it for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, and everybody is quick to jump down the official's throat and say they're the reason they lost the game. But to your point, Connor, like, they had other opportunities. Like, in sports like football and hockey especially, I have such a hard time saying a single event determined the outcome of a game, right? And whether it's in the last 30 seconds or the first 30 seconds in terms of an interception or a missed call, it's a missed call all the same. And like, just the butterfly effect of how stuff plays out over the course of a football game, I don't buy into that notion. And I'm also with you that I think the right call was made on that play. Pretty suspect pass interference call against the Bills on that final drive for the Broncos, but there was also a roughing the passer call that would have moved the ball to essentially the same spot anyway. And then the second PI call, I mean, like, it was pretty cut and dry in my eyes, right? So
I wouldn't argue that one at all.
The frustration from Bills fans, I understand, but you also, as a team, just did not play good enough to win yesterday. Like, your MVP quarterback turned the ball over 4 times. And despite what CJ Stroud and the Texans tried to show you in the wild card round, you really won't win very many playoff games doing that, right? And so Bills really have no one to blame but themselves in the grand scheme. And Sean McDermott paying for it with his job this morning. As a result, 500 record over 9 seasons in the playoffs, that is. His regular season numbers are sparkling. They're sterling. But yeah, 8-8 in the playoffs over 9 seasons. that's a lot of wins, but guess what? That also means it always ends with a loss. When it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week, like where's potential spots that Mike Tomlin could end up if he's taking a year off. One of the spots you and I had, I don't know if we had this conversation on air, but I definitely had it with Declan after and said, like, the Bills' job could be open next year or next offseason if McDermott doesn't get the job done. And they moved quicker. And we talked about it before. Like, sometimes a coach who gets into the playoffs, like if you're a Browns fan, you're like, that's amazing. If you're I don't insert any bad team here. New York Jets, that's great. But if you're the Buffalo Bills and you have Super Bowl aspirations and you just don't get over that hump, eventually you have to make the change. And you know what you had in McDermott, but what's out there? That's my question now. Who's going to be the team or the coach to get you over that hump? It's going to be an extremely entertaining offseason. Then we talk about, like, when Bo Nix, after the game, Sean Payton says he broke his ankle. Nobody knew. I saw the tweet from, I don't know who had it first, but I want to say Schefter. I'm like, is this a fake verified Schefter account?
Adam
what?
Scheffler?
Like, this can't be real. And then you go back and you see a little bit of a limp after the game, and that's crazy. You know, again, I didn't think Bo Nix was amazing, but he made the plays he had to make to get them the win. Penalty assisted drive, as you mentioned there, but that's a drop off with Jarrett Stidham. And hey, Nick Foles had a very funny tweet about how the Patriots have a hard time with backups in championship games. So Stidham's got a shot. That Broncos defense at home, phenomenal. So we'll see how it plays out, but it's going to be very interesting. And then, you know, on the flip side, we just had a text coming from Chris. Not sure why the Seahawks are undervalued, scored enough to win in 13 seconds. We just hadn't got there yet. I'll give so much credit to the Seattle Seahawks. And I changed my tune on Sam Darnold. Like I said, when they played the Rams and won in overtime, I said, I think I'm going to have to convince myself to be more of a starter. Now I know a Sam Darnold supporter. I don't think by any means he was the X factor in this game. We know that, but I do believe in him. 12 of 17. He did what he had to do. He had some injury problems. Kenneth Walker. Holy cow. Kenneth Walker fantasy owners are like, where was this guy in the red zone all season?
All they needed was just Zach Charbonnet not being available to use, and all of a sudden the guy is a touchdown machine.
And, you know, like fantasy owners would say, I knew he could do it. I knew he had that capability. 3 touchdowns, 116 yards on the ground. But, I mean, when Rashid Shaheed took the opening kickoff to the house, it was like, yeah, this could be tough.
Little foreshadowing as how the rest of the game would go. And I'll admit, Connor, and you can be honest with me, because the Oilers game was obviously on at this point as the game progressed into the evening. I asked myself at halftime, do I have to keep watching this game? And I did keep it on. I kept it on until Drew Lock came in the game. It was at that point where I knew I did not have to watch anymore, and flicked it off and jumped over to the Ducks and Kings game on my second screen instead.
Here's a thing for you. Drew Lock was in the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. That tells you enough. I didn't even know he played.
He didn't
so
you dipped out even earlier than I did.
Well, the game was over.
The game was over.
I'm sorry.
In the first quarter.
You know, MTR and Rowdy, I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on this, but you lose a game in that fashion. Like, it sucks that you have to just watch the opposing team get hyped up for the rest of the game. But it's like, well, it's done. I've accepted it. Those tight ones hurt.
Oh, it's funny. I was thinking the exact same thing to myself watching my team get embarrassed yesterday. But as you and I were just discussing before we jumped on air, like, the Texans were still in that game.
Yeah.
Because of how well the defense was holding them. And, you know, it was a 1-score contest, an 8-point one, but still. And then knowing that there's no reason for you to be in the football game because of how your quarterback is played, that I would have rather them just got blown out in the first quarter. And knowing my fate immediately, rather than it dragging on and giving me just the slightest glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
Which in reality was never really there.
Well, and the week previously, I felt the same way, because until Hunter Henry scored that touchdown.
Those darn low-scoring defensive grudge matches.
It was 9-3. It was like, okay, this game sucks, but they're not out of it. So for, you know, back-to-back games, the Patriots make the plays when they need to make it. And that's what I think is really, you know, they deserve a lot of credit for that. When they have to make a play, they do. That's what they did against the Texans. The throw to Booty, what a catch. One, Drake May put that where only his guy was going to get it, or where it was going to be incomplete. Last week he did the same with Hunter Henry for the touchdown. So yeah, Patriots find ways to get the job done. But I didn't see this coming. With Mike Vrabel, I think a lot of us probably would have accepted the fact that they were going to be a better team. Like, he got absolute all he could get out of the Tennessee Titans when he was there, and he's doing the exact same with the Patriots. They're looking really good, and it's funny because if you go back, Duke, to 2014, the year 2014, not the 2014 season, Seahawks won the Super Bowl. The next year, the Patriots won the Super Bowl. The next year, do you know who won the Super Bowl?
The Eagles.
Broncos.
Oh.
And then just a couple of years later, it was the Rams getting the job done in 2022. So all these teams have won a Super Bowl in the last 14 years. Meanwhile, our teams just can't figure it out.
Our team's never even been to a conference championship game.
Never?
Ever.
Oh.
Only team in the NFL.
They should do that.
They should really try that.
The only time I remember the Chargers doing it, because I only saw it once, it was against the Patriots, and LT was hurt, and Rivers had no ACL, and Gates was hurt. They lost the game, but I sat down like, I'm proud of them. Like, there was no anger. I was like, that's a good run.
I was proud of them.
Yeah, I still am proud of that team. They were moving the ball on all game on the Patriots, but they got to the red zone, and they just couldn't get it done because, LT and Gates were hurt. But LT was actually not even playing, I think. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. These teams turning around very quickly in the NFL. The Broncos were down for a little bit, as were the Seahawks. The Rams just kind of always keeping it going. And if you're a Baltimore Ravens fan, man, you had a pretty good defensive coordinator in your system. And now he's leading Seattle, who looks very good. Lance texting in so many potential Raider coaches. Yeah, the coaching carousel is crazy right now. Does McDermott want to get back into it? Tomlin, the pictures already surfaced of his daughter doing gymnastics, and he was in the crowd. People are like, he looks 10 years younger.
Just immediately.
It's the first time he's had more than 8 hours of sleep. Like, yeah, he might want to take it easy for a little bit. Jane Victoria says, good morning, guys. Want to hear some Pod Coles in love, and maybe who thinks which goalie is better for Denver? Oh, man, CJ had a rough one. Go Hawks, Jane Victoria. Yeah, there's a lot of positives for the Edmonton Oilers right now, Duke. Like, a lot of guys stepped up. Pod Coles, and the guy brings it. Like, you understand why Leon Draisaitl likes him as a line mate. I don't know if he's ever going to be big-time goal scorer, but like he wins puck battles. He's what you want on your line. So, gotta respect it. Roddy says, morning, boys. Morning, Roddy. Anyone who's a Bills fan is setting themselves for a lifetime of heartbreak. They are cursed, like the Canucks, the Leafs, the Browns. I cheered for them in the 90s after my Niners dynasty. It was my second team. Heartbreak every time. They will never win. But, Roddy, on the flip side, if you are, like I said, a Chargers fan, hey, man, they've had some pretty good runs. 4 Super Bowls in a row. Didn't win one. That's tough, but it could certainly be worse. You could never go to the Super Bowl like Duke's Texans, not even a championship game, with the asterisk that they've only been around since, 2002?
Correct.
Yeah, so they've got lots of time, but it's tough. It's heartbreaking. Triple C in a truck says, hey, Bills, get a quarterback who doesn't give the ball away all the time. That's tough.
Burn.
Shams' preface. Huge Bills fan. That play wasn't my issue. My issue was the refs let them play the entire game without PI being called. Then in the most crucial moments, 2 ticky-tack calls. Ridiculous. I can't say the word that was in front of that. Honestly, Sham, I get it. That's football, though. Like, every game, like every week, we see different calls going like that. And it just happens, on the biggest stage. Everyone's watching and we all see it. Yeah, I didn't have an issue with the one at the end, Duke. We were texting about it. Pretty hard to argue, but then it went the other way and it wasn't called. I can take you back to the Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl when the Chiefs won and there was a holding call, defensive holding call, and it was like they've been letting that go all game, and then they decide to call it when the Chiefs need a drive saver. Like, it sucks. I get it. I get the frustration because I don't know how you fix it because it happens so quick and the refs make the call, and unless you implement the CFL system of challenging penalties, I don't know what you do. We'll take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll get to more of your texts, 1-833-414-1440. Keep it rolling here. We'll talk some more Oilers here. A lot of NFL texts coming in, so we'll probably keep going with that. But keep it coming. It's Fantasy Frenzy brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky.
Planning your next event? Let Loca Quality Market cater. From made-to-order meals to gourmet platters to full chef tasting experiences, they make entertaining effortless. Visit loca.ca to start planning today.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
New Year's resolutions. We all make them. We all say we're going to start eating healthier or going to the gym or starting that new hobby. But at GS Construction, we actually follow through on our New Year's resolution because it's the same every year. We promise to set the groundwork, literally, for another year of progress and growth. And we've stuck by that resolution since 1974. So start that all-you-can-eat diet. GS Construction is going to start planning right now for the year ahead. For more on what we do, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Your fantasy football league sucks. Why? Oh, we've got 7 painfully accurate reasons. And don't worry, we've got fixes too. Visit fantasytoilet.com for all the tools and hilarious awards to make your fantasy league suck less.
When picking a New Year's resolution, try to avoid things you have no influence over.
Like bringing home the cup? That would be awesome.
But completely outside your control. Instead, pick something you can control. Like bringing home some Wilhock beef jerky.
That would also be awesome. But what if we brought the cup home to Canada and it was filled with Wilhock beef jerky?
Okay, I'll allow it.
Wilhock beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win cups with salad.
If you've got a smart speaker, get it to play Sports 1440.
And it doesn't matter when you listen as we roll out the Sports Talk
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Edmonton's home for sports radio is Sports 1440.
Across rural Alberta, volunteers and community groups work hard to make life better for their neighbors, creating new playgrounds, better rinks, and gathering places that bring us together. Vision Credit Union is proud to lend these local heroes a helping hand. Apply today for a Helping Hand grant up to $10,000 to support your community's next big idea. Let's make great things happen together. Applications are open until January 31st, 2026. Learn more at whatsyourshare.ca.
This is the sound of a Toyota Tundra hauling a custom, fully furnished ice hut out to the lake. And this is the sound of a Tundra hauling home some store-bought frozen cod when the lake didn't deliver. Two extremes, one Tundra with serious towing capacity. Now's the time to get yours. It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2026 Tundra 4x4 double cab SR5 from $149 weekly for 60 months at 4.99% with $7,599 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Who should start? Who needs to hit the bench? Find out with Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhock Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
2023, welcome back. It's Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick, Big Mike with you here in the Sports 1440 studios. Brought to you by Wilhock Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Online at wilhockbeefjerky.com. Big Mike, of course, is Mackenzie the intern. That's Josh says we're going to make it happen. So maybe we'll just roll with it. Some news coming down here. Vancouver Canucks trading Kiefer Sherwood to, drum roll please, the San Jose Sharks.
The Sharks?
For Cole Clayton and 2 second-round picks, one in 2026, one in 2027. So the Oilers' Western Canadian brethren trading players within the division. As yesterday, it was the Vegas Golden Knights who got a little richer. Now, Duke, I don't know. Have you looked up Cole Clayton? Do we know much about this guy?
I do not.
Josh Fenwick just looked him up. We can turn his mic on. What do we got? What's the breakdown?
What's the book say?
He's from Strathmore. I can tell you that.
That's right. Per his Hockey DB page, he's got 21 PIMs this year for the San Jose Barracuda. 2 goals, 3 assists, 33 games played. He's a -5 on the ice. The last 3 years, he played for the Cleveland Monsters. +5, +4, -4. So, a little dicey here. Pim machine, though. Dude loves the box.
Hey, I get it. Former teammate of James Hamblin, actually with the Medicine Hat Tigers. So, all right, there's some trade news. And then Brad Slater also texting me, and big Seattle Seahawks fan. Looks like Zach Charbonnet done for the playoffs. So, if you're in a playoff fantasy league for some reason, Kenneth Walker, baby.
Stock up.
Well, yeah, go get him. Daily fantasy. Looks like he could be a pretty good pick. Also, Cam Tate's got his 2-minute warning coming up today. His question for you, which you can go vote on X or Twitter, is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins the face of the Oilers franchise? He played 1,000 games, first to do so with his first 1,000 games, scored a goal last night. Everyone loves Nuge. Go check it out at Cam Tate on X, and that'll be the subject of the 2-minute warning later on today. So go pay it a little visit. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas with you here at the text lines 1-833-401-1440. You can also watch us on YouTube at Sports 1440 AM, Facebook, X, Instagram, and Twitch. And the show brought to you by Wilhock Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. We'll dive back into the inbox here for elksnation.ca, 2 weekly podcasts with Eddie Steele, Declan Kruger, breaking down the green and gold. Also, you can read the articles at elksnation.ca, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. Rod in the Valley texting in. Morning, guys. Love the show. I'll admit that at the start of the season, I was a little concerned. As the season goes, it's looking better and better with every game. How is Hyman not on the Olympic team? He's exactly what they need. Smaller, probably a more talented version of Wilson without fighting ability, from Rod in the Valley. Well, thank you for tuning in, Rod. We appreciate it. And it's funny, right? Like, just like the last 2 years, the concern's been there to start the season. When are they going to turn it around? Like, they got to do it eventually. It looks like they're starting to kind of shape up defensively as well. 1 goal in the last 3 games. Playbook Vic, I believe, texted in. No goals in the last 2 games. The Hyman debate's fun because, we're going to wait and see what happens with Braden Point, and anything else could happen. I was very high on Zach Hyman being on the team just because it is 6 games max. Why not have a wingman for Connor McDavid? Also, I think his floor is very high. Even if he's having a air quotes off game, I think he's still going to bring the energy, do the little things, might draw you a penalty or 2. So I'm kind of with you. At the same time, though, like, if they don't like Bennett, I'd get it. Like, guy's a gamer. So, yeah, I'm kind of with you, though. I fully understand from Edmonton show. We watch him a lot. Maybe there's a little bias. But I get what you're saying. Corey says it was 10-10 with no timeouts before half. Buffalo should have been down 13-10 at half. Instead, they screwed around, and it's 20-10. Terrible team play. Exactly, Corey. I'm with you, man. Like that, I say, like, they scored the 7 points. Hey, nice throw, pitch and catch, great stuff from the Broncos. There's no way that they should have got the ball back with a chance to kick a field goal. Like, there's absolutely no way. Geez, take a knee. Just get to halftime. Like, that would have been boring at the time, but in hindsight, it would have looked pretty good. Jay and Victoria, Seahawks fan, says, glimmer of hope, guys, Jays and Oilers. I'm done believing now. Prove me wrong. This is how I feel about Darnold. I expect the Seahawks will lose. And there's a certain type of sports fan, Jay, and I think I'm the same as you. Like, if you go back, rewind the tape 6 weeks, I was like, Chargers probably lose out and miss the playoffs. Kind of hard on my team. Unbiased opinion, I don't think you need to be too hard on the Seahawks, man. You got a good team there. Home field advantage. The game against the Rams is going to be fantastic. And to those of you who thought that the Rams could not win because cold weather, they're a good team. And I had a discussion with someone on the text line on Friday. Like, Matthew Stafford plays in Detroit. That meant an annual trip to Lambeau and Chicago. Devontae played with the Packers, played outside a lot. Their running backs are from Notre Dame and Michigan, played outside. Like, they had a lot of guys who are used to playing in cold conditions, and they did good against the Eagles last year. Didn't win, of course, but the weather for this Rams team, I just think they're prepped. MTR says, I didn't even have a sip of my beer, and it was 7-0 Seahawks. Niners ran into a buzzsaw Saturday night. I'm a diehard fan, but fair play to Seattle and the Rams, clearly the 2 best teams in the NFC. Also, Shanahan, I love you, man, but he was running C-Mac up the middle, down 41-6 in the 4th. That's what I was the most mad about all night. get a clue. Yeah, it was over at that point. Hey, I see in the game still.
Or my Texans down 2 scores, and the clock's at like 3.5 minutes, and they punt.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 4th and a mile because I think Stroud took a sack on 3rd down. But still, I mean, you literally just admitted you gave up. Like, you just gave up on the game.
If you don't get it, the Patriots probably just run the football, right? Like, yeah,
They probably kneel it out a couple times.
It
Like,
doesn't matter.
you can use your timeouts if you want at that point, which you did after they punted it. And then they had the 2-minute warning, but then 1 first down and the game's over. So it was waving the white flag by D'Amico Ryans, essentially just saying, I don't want to watch my offense on the field anymore. Get the D back out there.
Well, I mean, I'll take you back to last week when it was 4th and 9, game on the line, and the Chargers run play action. Like,
oh, good. You fooled us.
That might have caused Greg Roman his job. Like, what are we doing here? Husks texting in, CH, tough pill to swallow for Deck. Yeah, absolutely, for Bills fans.
Declan was going through it in our little group message yesterday.
Yeah.
And understandably so.
He vented. I kind of go the other way. Like, if you texted me after, like, last Sunday, I didn't answer for the most part. Like, I don't want to talk about it. I unfollowed the Chargers social media teams.
Wow.
I don't want to see it. I just get rid of it all. I unfollowed some, like, good NFL writers too. I'm going to follow them back at some point, but I just like, no, the meme accounts, Ghetto Gronk on Instagram.
So funny.
Couldn't I had to unfollow.
I actually really enjoyed the ones at the expense of CJ Stroud and the Texans. I sent one to you earlier.
They were good.
They were really funny.
I'll probably follow back, but just need like a week of it to just get away from it. Granted, I was doing my mock drafts last week, so never too early to start looking at.
Good point. Time to look ahead. What offensive lineman's going to be available to the Texans in the, what are we talking, like 24th spot?
Yeah. You might get a guard there.
Still good.
Maybe a stud tackle.
They drafted a tackle last year, so need a guard.
Keep going. That's the formula.
Maybe a center.
No, don't take any. Chargers need a center.
Oh.
You may have a guard.
You Chargers will pick before the Texans.
Yeah, well, maybe twice. Trade back in, get a couple. Or spend money on it.
Throw as many darts at the board as you can.
If you're in win now mode, I think you got to maybe look at free agency. The Ravens potentially letting a guy walk that people should be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
We'll wait and see. Matt Leduc says they tried challenging penalties in the NFL for 1 season. Problem is they gave final say to the same refs making those calls, and the refs were against the challenge system, so virtually nothing got overturned. Yeah, I mean it's the kind of thing that we see a lot of times in the NHL too, where it's like it's super close. Like I'm just going to go with what was it called on the ice, but there are sometimes it's just too clear. Lance says, "Hey boys, as a Raiders fan, they get Mendoza hypothetically, and the ideal coach." Like a Tomlin or something, do they become a playoff team?
No,
I don't.
The team has essentially no talent on it. Like you have Ashton Genty. I'm still high on him being a productive NFL running back. The O-line's terrible. Your receiver group leaves a lot to be desired. You have Brock Bowers. Max Crosby, is he going to be a Raider next year? He's the only real tangible positive piece you have in your defense. Like teams can go through quick turnarounds in the NFL. The Raiders are not a last to playoff team, especially not in that division.
And that's what I think the X factor is. Like sometimes you get a team that turns it around and just
like in the NFC South.
Yeah. Well, with a bad record, but look at the Patriots. Take them. Like they turn it around very quickly. New coach. Well, they had a quarterback in their second year, but turned it around quickly. But you had the Dolphins who floundered. You had the Jets who stink. The Bills off season for them. Still obviously a playoff team, but it opened the door for them. I can't see that happening with the Chiefs. I think they'll bounce back. Broncos have a good group. Chargers stay healthy. I think they're a playoff team again. So I don't think so, but man, I think Mendoza is going to be solid. I think that that's a good pick. The coach, geez, do they give them more than 1 year? But you nailed it. I think it's offensive line, defensive line. Max Crosby, absolute stud. They got 3 studs on that team, but I think they need a few more before we look at them as a playoff team. Then again, you have a good offseason. You never know what's going to happen. DS says, is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins a Hall of Fame player? Remember that Shea Weber, the most overrated player in his NHL history, is in the Hall of Fame. I think Shea Weber's an absolute stud and deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. I know a lot of people didn't, but I was not one of those people. When has Ryan Nugent-Hopkins ever been looked at in the landscape of the NHL as a top 10 player? Oh, wait. It's never happened. Like, he had a 100-point year. It was good. I don't know. I don't think there's any chance he's a Hall of Famer. Duke, I mean, you're not an Oilers fan.
No, I had this conversation with Kevin and Eddie this morning, in or out, like about the Oilers traditionally, with the exception of Al Hamilton, the first Oiler, your number doesn't get retired unless you are in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And otherwise you're enshrined in the Ring of Honor, Wall of Honor, whatever you want to call it. Showing your importance to the franchise, your accomplishments here. And there's some really good players in that group that on a lot of other franchises would probably have their number retired. But the Oilers have such a high bar set by legends of the game that it makes it more complicated. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is not a Hall of Famer. He's been an excellent NHLer, reliable, one of my favorite players, going back to like as the Oilers were in transition from decade of darkness to being a good team again. People saying, trade him, see what you can get for him. I always scoffed at that notion because of so many things he does for the team that don't get noticed. I'm talking purely on the ice, let alone off of it. But I think that he will be the first Oiler to have his jersey retired that is not in the Hall of Fame. Once again, with the exception of Al Hamilton. So I think he deserves it without a doubt.
I could get on board for that, but I don't see him as a Hall of Famer.
He's not a Hall of Famer.
Hell of a player, though. Hell of a career. Like, I would say, yeah. As a number one overall pick, he's done pretty damn good. It's okay. Brad says, dear Chargers fan, read my text. Well, here's the thing, Brad. You keep sending those texts, it just keeps taking it to the top. So I start at the bottom to try to keep up with everyone, and it just keeps shooting away from me. Sorry, boys, just joining. Have you touched on the Broncos? What do you think of Knicks in the game he played? Do you think we have a chance with Stidham? And regardless of your thoughts of the interception in overtime. Oh, what are your thoughts? Yeah, if it was incomplete, they would have punted. I thought Knicks was good. Like he was fine. He did what he had to do. He still misses throws that I'd like to see him complete. With Jarrett Stidham, though.
I think they have a chance.
I will not be picking them. Their defense is great. I don't know. Like, would it surprise me to see like a 17-9 game? No. I don't think they have a chance. And you can't say I'm a Bronco hater because I am a Bronco hater, but I'm a Patriots hater too. Hate them both equally. It'll be tough. And I mean, what have we seen from Jarrett Stidham lately? Not much. I remember him with the Raiders.
He hasn't taken a snap in like 2 years, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot to...
That's a long time. Now, Connor, riddle me this. I know they've already announced Jarrett Stidham as the starter for this game. If you were in the Broncos brain trust, are you entertaining any notion of the Indianapolis Colts method, the rumored Niners approach from a couple of years ago of getting somebody off the couch to come in? And the name that I saw surface the most yesterday around on the Twitter sphere, the connection to the head coach,
Drew Brees?
Drew Brees, who, if we may recall, in his last couple of years in the NFL, was not very good because he could not throw anymore. His shoulder was in pieces.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying Drew Brees, but anybody out there. Are you interested in that?
I'm always interested. Of
Well,
course.
Yeah, you were pounding the Phil Rivers signed off the couch, and you're just like, this guy should be the MVP. He's 44 years old playing in the NFL.
The thing is, though, if Brees came out of retirement, he's a saint. So he can't.
Why not?
Because he's still under contract with them.
Oof.
He's on the reserve retired list.
Because Tom Brady owns the Raiders, is he allowed to play?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
It's so weird to me that he's doing team meetings when he's part of an organization.
What's Peyton up to?
Podcasting.
Hosting Monday Night Football alternate broadcast.
But like, here's the thing. This is very important. Jarrett Stidham is not 22, right? He's 29. He's been in the NFL. He's been in a bunch of different systems. Can he go out there and manage a game?
I say yes.
I think he can.
That's why I think the Broncos have a shot. They have had their success all year not needing Bo Nix to be Drake May or Jaden Daniels or Josh Allen or whomever has at times carried their respective team to playoff success. They don't need him to do that. They need him to be good enough. Like the Patriots, for as well as the defense played yesterday, all these things, like they almost, like it was a 1-score game in a fourth quarter to a quarterback that threw 4 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
That shows me that they can be God.
They could. I think about both these teams. I mean, I put a lot of cashola on the NFC in the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I just think they're that much better. But like, yeah, I'm gonna lean Denver. I mean, sorry, New England, but that doesn't matter.
Wow, how could you?
What do I know? I went 2-2 this weekend. I went 0-2 in the AFC. My heart was against those two teams, but they won. I just quickly, Gretterman Jay said, "Hey boys, since Bennett signed his new deal, he's been a shell of himself. I don't know if he's hurt, but if you ask me, hit-wise, physicality, and scoring, Hyman's got it by far." Well, he's got 17 goals, if we're talking Sam Bennett. Granted, I don't watch every Panthers game, but I thought he kind of showed himself to be a big-time player when it matters. At 15 goals in the playoffs last year.
And keep in mind for Bennett, he's playing a little bit of a different role for the Panthers this year because they haven't had their two best forwards for the whole season. Kachuk's going to make his return tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, maybe you're asked to play more like a traditional top line player with more emphasis on contributing offensively than just banging bodies and then chipping in the offense when it, like, in the past, he like was maybe a second line center, played some third line type minutes for the Panthers, right? Now in the playoffs, different story. So to say he looks like a shell of himself, I think is a little overblown. As you said, Connor, the production's still there. And we like the contract wise, come on, like this is also a guy that's played how much hockey over the past 3 seasons. I don't think it should be surprising to anybody. The Panthers as a whole look a little lesser this season. It catches up with everyone. And once again, playing without their 2 best forwards.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, I'm pro Zach Hyman on that spot, but I also think
me too.
Bennett's been, he's proven he can be a pretty big time player. Why don't we take a quick break here? When we come back, we'll get to more texts. Lots rolling in here. 1-833-401-1440. It is Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky.
When picking a New Year's resolution, try to avoid things you have no influence over.
Like bringing home the cup? That would be awesome.
But completely outside your control. Instead, pick something you can control, like bringing home some Will Hawk Beef Jerky.
That would also be awesome. But what if we brought the cup home to Canada and it was filled with Will Hawk Beef Jerky?
Okay, I'll allow it.
Will Hawk Beef Jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win cups with salad.
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicked things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Do you work for a company that wants to reach people who love sports? Or maybe you're looking to hire people who love sports. Sports 1440 partners with dozens of local businesses, connecting with tens of thousands of Edmonton sports fans every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. Contact our sales team today to see what Sports 1440 can do for you. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca to get started.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League sports season is now underway. The JPHL offers elite athletic and academic opportunities for players in the 14U, 15U, 17U, and 18U divisions. All games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV, featuring a showcase-style schedule and competitive matchups across Western Canada. Players work with experienced coaches, trainers, and elite hockey personnel. Learn more about Western Canada's fastest-growing elite hockey development stream at juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Invest for today and tomorrow. Vision Credit Union makes it simple with 2 RRSP options to fit your goals. Choose a secure term deposit RRSP with guaranteed returns or a mutual fund RRSP offering higher growth potential with exciting opportunities. With an RRSP, you'll save on your income tax, grow your investments tax-free, and get closer to your dreams. Whether it's retirement or your first home, the deadline to qualify for 2025 tax deductions is March 2nd. Learn more at visioncu.ca. You know, this year I can't decide what to work on for my New Year's resolution. My confidence, my appearance, or my general happiness.
Why not improve all three by finally addressing your hair loss? Hi, I'm Dr. Vancelia. Receding hairlines and bald spots can chip away at your self-image, make you look older, and feel unattractive. Let's discuss your options for regaining a full natural head of hair and make this the year you get your mojo back. Book a free first consultation today at drvancelia.com.
Get the inside scoop for your team on Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
It's 11:46. Welcome back to Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick, intern Mackenzie with you here. Text line 1-833-441-1440. The show brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Online at willhawkbeefjerky.com. Only available in Leduc. Nikki Northside says, thank you for letting that song play out, boys. Of course. We were actually just having a discussion about something else. I don't even remember. What were we talking about? Duke running versus Alejandro Kirk?
Alejandro Kirk's middle name.
Yeah.
His top speed compared to what I remain confident I could reach on a home plate to first time.
Oh, we were also talking about if you didn't make the cut for the men's hockey team, would you stay on the program for testing and such? I mean, I don't think too many dudes were just like injecting steroids into their veins immediately after, but the testing policy is a little bit different than that, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can't take
cough
cold
medicines,
effects.
and yeah, you can't take hair growth stimulants, I believe. There's a few other ones, but maybe enhancement pills of lots of varieties you got to stay away from. And some guys might not have wanted to. Like, nope, I'm out.
Got to get back in the lab.
Exactly.
Got to get back in the workshop.
Got to be ready for 2030. Next time it happens. A lot of text rolling in here. Should let you know, coming up next, it will be the Lowdown with Low Tide. Of course, LT and Declan Kruger. They'll recap the Oilers and NFL weekend. Gregor will be by to join them. Also, I believe Rachel Krychuk will be there, but we'll wait and see for sure for the official tweet from Declan Kruger. Then on the Gregor Show today, of course, we will be joined by our co-host on Mondays, Sean Brown. Kevin Woodley will be by. Spec. We're going to talk some more NHL, of course, and try to get out to one of the 4 remaining NFL markets, potentially Denver today, to see what's going to happen without Bo Nix. Text lines 1-833-401-1440. HVAC Nick says, Flames and Canucks both trading within the division. You hate to see it. Desperate teams wanting McKenna. Yeah, I mean, usually you kind of think, especially if it's a long-time player, beloved player, like let's trade them far away. Don't want to have to see them again. Flames don't see it that way. Like, let's just get the best offer and move on. Hey, boys, what do you think the Panthers need to take a bigger step next year? Tight end or another receiver? From Jesse.
The Carolina Panthers?
Got to be the Carolina Panthers, yeah.
The offense, I actually think, is in a pretty decent spot. They seem to really like Jatavian Sanders, the big tight end they have. I think he's a converted wide receiver.
I played tight end in Texas, I believe. But
okay.
Could have been converted into
Yeah, maybe. I might be thinking of someone else. But besides the point, like, he was hurt. I don't think he was playing in the playoff game. I'm not sure if that played a role or not. I mean, the Panthers surprisingly competitive in that contest. I would say, if we're talking like draft or free agency, I think some more ads on the defensive side of the ball would be their focus. Maybe bringing Rico Dowdle back, free agent. Keep up that 1-2 punch. But also, is Jonathan Brooks going to play in the NFL?
Oh, he had the other injury, started camp?
He, like, for the second year in a row, tore his ACL. He's played like 3 NFL games. You feel bad for the guy. He had a lot of hype coming out of college, but hasn't been able to make much of an impact. So I guess maybe his forecast would dictate on what they're willing to do with Dowdle. They want to bring him back or not. He's probably going to command a pretty good price. The return of the running back. The league's changing again.
I would not go with receiver. I like Coker.
Yeah, Coker. I think Leggett looked a lot better this year than he did last.
McMillan's going to be a player.
Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, I wouldn't be focusing my attention there if I were the Panthers brass.
Yes. Now, there is that kid out of Oregon who declared for the draft at tight end. I wish I knew his name off the top of my head. Kenyon Sadiq. Depending on where you're going, he could be available for the Panthers if you want to go that route. Tavian Sanders, I was looking him up. He doesn't get a lot of targets, even before the injury. And he wears number 0 as a tight end.
Which is cool.
I'm not sold if you're number 0. If he was number 88, oh, baby. That's a good tight end number right there. But
see, I think 88 is more of a wide receiver number. 87, tight end number. 86, tight end number.
You're just living in the current day.
89.
89? Steve
tight
Smith?
End number.
Who's 89?
I don't
Trey
know.
McBride? What does he wear?
86?
83?
No.
85. Like
There you
Antonio Gates. Good tight end number.
There we go.
I was just thinking Tony Gonzalez when I said 88.
Right.
That was a pretty good one, but that is neither here nor there. Rob says, hey, guys. Oh, Rob the Ref. This will be actually a good text to read. Guys wanted to chime in on the Bills-Broncos game. The interception 100% should have been a catch. Why? The receiver survived contact with the defender. The ball was not moving, and it was ripped out when the defender rolled over the receiver. In the CFL, we would have taken our time and made sure the call was right. There's 2 components to look at for a catch: contact with the defender or contact with the ground. He survived the first one, full stop. See, and that's what I thought too. That was my first thought. Cut the ball, hit the ground, was touched, it's over. But then I also thought, if that ball comes loose, Rob, it's an incompletion, correct? Like if it just hits the ground? Because it wouldn't have been a fumble at that point because the ground you would have been down. Would it have been still a catch if that ball comes out immediately? As far as the late DPIs are concerned, the first one was weak, but would have been offset by roughing the passer. The second DPI was good. Hope that helps. Now, I would agree with that totally. The second DPI, defensive pass interference, you can't argue it. He had his hand. I wanted to as a hater, but then I watched the replay and thought, yeah, you can't argue that one. As we discussed in our little text exchange, Duke. Mm-hmm. Rob, thank you for the text. That it feels like on the interception, people have made up their mind this is what it is. It shouldn't have been called, or it should have been. It was the right call, and people will argue forever. I heard someone text in about comparing it to the Kill McCarr offside call, Duke, which is different, but I think just like with what I'm saying, people have made up their mind on it, and it will be in Buffalo Bills lore. It'll be brought up all the time, I bet. The wise guy says, hard to watch my Niners, but even before injuries, they blew away the season's expectations. Solid season. When my team's NFL is done, so am I. I'll check back on draft day. The wise guy. Heck, yeah. Hey, if you take a step back, the Niners season was outstanding. With all the injuries they had, they did a great job. Just shooting. You ran into a really good team in the Seattle Seahawks that, arguably played their best game of the year. Started out great and just kept it going. If Nuge made the Olympics this year and won gold, he'd be in the Hall of Fame.
If ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
This is from Justin Herbert. I think if Nuge hits 1,000 points and wins a cup or two, he makes the Hall of Fame. Not right away, but maybe after a decade or so, like Kevin Lowe. Not a traditional Hall of Famers, but there's plenty of guys like that elite, or they're not really elite, but in the Hall. From Alex. Again, if
winning the Stanley Cup is hard.
Yeah.
The Oilers have already seen that the past 2 seasons. And in regards to like the guys that wait a while before they get inducted, like if we're talking however many years down the road, yeah, that does happen for some guys. But I also kind of think, are we expecting the Hall of Fame classes to get any weaker?
Yeah.
Like we're in an era where every year there's like guys cracking in at 18 years old, which is not true. Like go back 20 years wasn't really the case. It was the exception. Now it's more the norm that players start playing at 18, 19, and not all of them play well long enough to garner Hall of Fame consideration or anything. But yeah, I don't know. I like I said, you will be hard pressed to find a bigger fan of the way Ryan Nugent-Hopkins plays the game and as a person and his whole career, go back to junior than me. It's not a Hall of Famer.
I'm with you.
He'd be in my Hall of Very Good for sure.
Yeah.
The longevity, the production, team success, kind of depending if the Oilers can maybe get over a hump here or something. But yeah, he just doesn't crack that barrier for me.
And you brought up like the talk of Hall of Fame or retirement number. Like, yeah, I can get behind that one. Like Mr. Oiler, if especially if they won a cup, and
because he's going to be the franchise's all-time leader in games played in the first 5 games of next year if he doesn't miss any the rest of the way this season.
If he keeps going, he's a 1,000-point player.
Right.
To me, like that's Hall of Fame. Retirement number. But for me personally, I'm not in on this one. Unless a couple Stanley Cups.
What if all of a sudden,
MVPs?
What if he rolls out a few more 100-point seasons?
Yeah. Hey, I'm not counting it out. Could happen.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, the Rocket Richard winner, the Twisted Wrister.
Yeah. Couple Conn Smythes.
Why not?
2, 3. Why not? Then it's a whole new conversation. Not a good text here. You guys watch the John Reed? Madano and Parker McMillan going 1-2. I'm taking McMillan. Can't teach size. Looks like Madano who skates and he's only 14. I know I didn't get out there. I know Gregor was out there on Friday for his show. Looked like a fantastic tournament. Some star-studded cast walking around. We had Fernando Pisani dropping on the show. Struddy was out there. Richard Matvichuk. But looked like another great event over the weekend out in St. Albert. All right, music means we're done. We'll take our 23-hour break. Up next is the Lowdown with Low Tide for everyone here. Thank you guys for tuning in. We do appreciate it. Check the podcast if you missed it or on YouTube. You can watch it Sports 1440 AM. Right now, let's get to a Sports 1440 update with the Duke. Brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky, online at wilhaukbeefjerky.com. Only available in the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
10-game slate in the NHL today, one of which already underway as it is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so games all across the afternoon. Sabres and Hurricanes currently tied at 1, halfway through the first period, coming up at 2. Avalanche host the Capitals. Kraken take on the Penguins. Matt Tkachuk makes his return to the Panthers roster when they host the Sharks. Sharks making some noise in the past hour as they acquired Kiefer Sherwood from the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for 2 second-round picks as well as a defensive prospect. Elsewhere, Maple Leafs hosting the Wild. Calgary taking on the Devils just down the highway. Jonathan Toews making his return to Chicago, and the Jets play the Blackhawks, and those Canucks welcome in the Islanders in the nightcap. Ditto for the NBA, games all day long, first of which already underway between the Hawks and Bucks. OKC takes on Cleveland here at 12:30. Later today, Knicks hosting Dallas at MSG. Phoenix is in Brooklyn, and Detroit hosting Boston. In case you missed it earlier this morning, Buffalo Bills firing head coach Sean McDermott after Saturday's 33-30 overtime loss to the Broncos. 98-50 was McDermott's record, but 8-8 in the playoffs during his tenure. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is the Lowdown with Low Tide. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Yes, it's Sports 1440.